Hello travelers, this is going to be an open reading for the month of May through the week 9 through 16. And yesterday I heard that Nikki Haley won 20% of the vote. I forget in what county, in what state it was in, but I haven't heard whether she's going to get back in the race. We know that her billionaire supporters pulled their money from her because she couldn't win. At least they thought she couldn't win. But on the off chance that she gets back into the race, I'm going to do a reading on it and try to see what I can see through the cards. Nikki Haley has an interesting background. She was born Nimrata Nikki Haley to get it right here. Hold on. Wait, just give me a minute. I thought I had it saved. I think I do. To parents of the Sikh religion from India. Ajit is her dad and Raj is her mom. And she has 3 other siblings named Simran, her bigger brother, Midi. Her big sister is Simran. Her big brother is Midi. And she had a little brother named Simi. I got photos to show you. And I always said that Nikki Haley couldn't win the presidential election because, for one thing, she comes from Bamberg, South Carolina, and that's a small town. Everybody knows that she is Indian. She is a second-generation immigrant, child of an immigrant. Her parents are foreign. Even if they have citizenship here, they are looked on as foreign in some instances. Her record as South Carolina governor was abysmal in terms of her not helping the people. She's a Republican, so there were lots of things that she did that didn't help the people of South Carolina. She was in the Trump administration, and she was kind of a so-so ambassador to United Nations. And nevertheless, her being there at the time that Trump was there kind of says she helped support all of his policies, or she was in agreement with him. I think she waited until the last minute, I think, to attack Trump when she was running, and that was a mistake. But I also think she was a little afraid to do that. So it's going to be anybody's guess as to whether she decides to get back in the race. Donald Trump was already talking bad about her, and I'm sure people started to maybe call her and email her, and she was worried about her family. That's the way it goes when you go against 45. You have people out there who will do anything to show their support and intimidate you. And so it's going to be anybody's guess as to whether she gets back into the race. I found her birth information, but the time is not right. I have it at 12 noon because I don't have a birth time. And I can show you the chart, and I'm going to write an article about it over on Substack a little bit later. But I thought it was interesting because Several people have been saying they think it's going to be a woman. Jessica Adams is one. Yesterday, I contacted my friend Katie Ellen Hazelton. She writes True Tarot Tales on Substack, and she says one of her friends who's a psychic is saying that Donald Trump is going to win, but Katie herself says she sees a woman peeking out. And so I think the woman could be Nikki Haley. But I don't know if she's going to win, especially with the chart not being right. And so I can't put her placements exactly where they go in the chart, and can't read what's going to happen leading up to the event, the presidential election. So it kind of looks like maybe she could have, and it could be possible. But the thing is, it's going to be a matter of whether or not people will hold their nose and vote for Trump anyway, or if they're going to get behind Nikki Haley because they simply can't support Donald Trump anymore. I think he's going to be hard to beat. And so we'll just see, So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around, and I'll start to deal the cards. Incidentally, I have the Radiant White deck. I have the Golden Nostradamus, and I'm also pulling the Archetype cards by Carolyn Miss to see who Nikki Haley is going to be in this process. So let me turn that camera around. I've done some meditation and shuffling. I'm going to shuffle just a little bit more, and then I'm going to get into the reading. Oh, well, there's a Justice card that just fell out. Let me cut them, and we will build on the Justice card. 9-card spread. Here we go. The next card is the 4 of Wands. The Death card. The 7 of Cups. The 8 of Wands. The 9 of Wands. The Star card. The Hangman. The Wheel of Fortune. That's interesting. So what's over the whole reading? It's a Knight of Wands. I think she is going to get back in the race, and she will make an announcement. It's this ambiguous Wheel of Fortune at the end of the reading. It's an outgoing energy. We can say it's the end of confusion, and the wheel turns, but which way is the wheel going to turn, really? So I have, on the outside, I have 4 major arcana, and I have 3 wands and a cup, and underneath the 8 of wands I have the Hangman. So this whole row is all about, let's say, higher forces, past, present, future, past, present, future interplay of the cards. Let's start at the top. We have Justice. I think it's just that. She was trying to come and bring some order, at least, to the Republican field of, what do you call it, nominees. I don't know if she is a lawyer. She could be. Most people who go into politics are lawyers. But the Justice card says you have to weigh the pros and the cons of your actions. It's about balancing two different substances, like water and oil, the scales. And the Justice card also says, do not let anybody sway you from whatever you think. It's a karmic card. We have 3 big karmic cards. It's a karmic card that says, whatever lessons you have learned them, so there's no need to repeat them. And even if you got the short end of the stick, it's just and it's fair. You can move on to something else now. The 4 of Wands. It's a 4, meaning that everything is stable right now. But the 4 of Wands, in this case, it speaks to her family, how she feels about her family, and it says that you should celebrate what you love doing. So let's say she should be proud of the fact that she stood up in a primary against 45 and she did kind of well. And she should celebrate that. But the Death card comes along to say that has ended now. But she didn't kill the king. You know that old saying, if you're going to try to kill the king, make sure you don't miss. But you didn't kill him. So I think this is simply saying that it's a transformative time. Not only for her, but for Trump. Because he going through it. Even though I don't think anything is going to come at his trials, he's going through it. In effect, I think the trial today with Stormy Daniels kind of killed the king because she put all his business out in the open. But death can also be a resurrection, a transformation, something new happening. In the back, you see the 2 towers and the sun, like it's saying it's the darkest before the dawn. So I don't know if that means Nikki Haley is going to resurrect her campaign, or, damn it, or if it's going to be like a second chance for Trump. It could be both things at once. That's the way the tarot works. But underneath the Justice card, I see the 7 of Cups. Now, first of all, it's a 7. And 7s say it's a moment to question yourself. Is what she's doing really making a difference? Can she really beat Trump? It could be fantasy. Building castles in the sky. A confusion. Should she get back into the race or not? How is she going to fund it? It takes a lot of money. And I think this is a question that she's asking herself right now. And what does she get out of it? She gets self-actualization, temptation to jump back in, property, the White House, riches, maybe it could be spiritual riches, but I think I'm going to leave that alone. Peace and power. All those things kind of go along with being the president of the United States. But it's this seventh thing that hasn't been identified that's going to tell the tale. And if she can identify the one thing that is important, all the rest of the things will fall away. And the Seven of Cups also says, expect a surprise. So I don't know. The Eight of Wands. It's Mercury in Sagittarius. In other words, it's getting your message out across to the masses. So maybe she will announce that she is going to go back into the race. It's the Eight of Wands, which says that a message may come through having to do with work or career, even travel. But it also is an 8 that says 8s can sometimes bring about obstacles, hassles, and delays. But when the card shows up, expect situation to move rapidly. Okay? But behind that 8 is 9 of Swords. It's another number like the 7, where you stop and you have to think about it. And so the 9 is a focus on completion of events. And here, I think Nikki Haley is saying, you know what? I was kind of beat up and battered in the primaries. He whooped my ass. He even talked bad about my husband, who was on deployment in a foreign country. But I think she has enough get up and go, maybe, to do it again. It, I think, boils down to this card right here. It says she's of good character and she had a lot of strength in order to continue the battle. We have here the Star card. I think this is a timing issue because it relates to the sign of Aquarius. And it's a cosmology of the spread. I think the time is right if she's going to get back in the race. And she's going to have to be ready to take any slings and arrows that come her way. She's going to have to stand and be naked, so to speak, and comfortable in who she is. And I don't know if that's going to work because of her parents. I'm not saying she should be ashamed of her parents or that she is ashamed of her parents. I think her parents are going to play a big role in her choice to run. And I'm not sure, at least at the moment, because November is far away, that she has enough water in a well to do the job. That takes a lot of emotion, okay, to run for president. And then we have the Hangman, the big stop. And he puts himself in this position so that he can get a clearer perspective on what's happening. I don't know if somebody in her family or maybe she suffers from migraines, shoulder problems, neck problems, hip problems, thigh and leg and ankle problems, foot problems. But this is a total stop on what's going on until she can find out exactly what to do. Something else that the hangman is trying to tell me, I'm not exactly sure what it is. If you give me a minute. So we end this spread with the Wheel of Fortune. It's a 10 card. It relates to Jupiter. We know that Jupiter has been conjunct Uranus. So that's like sudden wealth, a sudden big opportunity that comes out of nowhere, like her winning 20% in whatever state that was. I don't remember. I want to say Wisconsin. It might be Michigan. It could be any other Midwest states. So a sudden opportunity. But because Uranus is there, it can be all or nothing. And I think that's what she has to contemplate. Is it worth it? It's going to be all or nothing. Do I really want to go through the shit again and not win anything? And not be the victor? This says that it's transformation of her, I think, her determination and her focus to fight, but the will can go either way. It can go up and it can go down. And right now, in my opinion, the answer is, I don't know. The cards are not saying, because it can go either way. I do think she's going to get back in the race. She's going to come roaring back and maybe try to take advantage of Trump while he's down, so to speak. And this is big energy. And the situation, look how the knight is writing in from the future to the past, saying, yeah, I'm going to jump on that. I'm going to do it. But this person can be reckless sometimes. I think she's going to have to get a brand new political team together to kind of help her navigate the pitfalls of going against Trump. And I still don't think she's going to hit him exactly the way that he should be hit. There's fear there. I feel it. So, I'm going to look at the Wands cards. It's a lot of wand energy, which tells me it's a lot of fire, passion, heat. Also, we have Mars. I think, I don't know where he is today, but Mars has been in Aries. So there's a lot of Martian energy through here. Like her drive has been reactivated. Maybe she can look on her past success and say, yeah, I did that shit. I think I'm going to do it again. I think it's going to come swiftly, her announcement. She's going to jump back in the race. But something gives her pause. And the truth is it all confusion? Is she fantasizing about it? Or what? So I'm going to look at the Four of Wands, the Seven of Cups, the Eight of Wands, and the Nine of Wands as they relate to justice, death, the Star, the Hangman, and the Wheel of Fortune. Where are my Sibila cards? I forgot to take them out. before I do that, I want to see if there are any more messages here that the cards can impart on this situation. We start with the Four of Wands. Excuse me. Nothing next to any of these cards. The Seven of Cups. Next to the Wheel of Fortune. It is telling you to seek out the right advice before making any important decisions and moving ahead with your plans. That's what I'm saying. I think she's going to have to get a good team on her side, because there may be some aspects you have missed. With the right guidance and advice, you will prosper in your endeavor. Next to the Wheel of Fortune, you are asked to seek the right advice before moving ahead. And that's where I think the big stop comes. And she will have to decide whether she's going to go for it or not. Is it worth it to her? Can she win? The Eight of Wands. Tells me nothing. And now the Nine of Wands. Tells me nothing. Those are the only cards I can look at. So, let me see if the Sibilas can clarify some things for me. I think the cards that I really want to look at are the Nine of Wands, because there's a little bit of fear coming out that card. Feeling of fear. Disgartia. That's a Tower card that has an energy of Uranus. So let's see. The Militare, the fight, but could also refer to her husband because he's in the military, wanting to support her or wanting to protect her. But it could also speak about a kind of cutthroat work environment where there are traps everywhere for you. And she's a Capricorn sun. And this is the woman with children. It speaks to both that she has children, but the kind of person that she is. She's steady. She's ruled by Saturn. And I think she's kind of used to taking hard knocks, but this is really hard for her, I want to say. You know, people who are ruled by Saturn, particularly the Capricorn people, they'll keep climbing and keep climbing even when nobody else sees a way for them to continue. So this could be about that too with the Militare. I think I want to look at the Hangman. What's a big stop? I don't think she's lost hope that maybe she can get back in the race. I just don't know how it's going to go. The Kaza, to me, that's kind of a depiction of an important federal building. It speaks about the home and what you're feeling inside. How are you going to... The home is supposed to be your sanctuary. And when you close the windows and doors, nothing can get inside of you, inside of the house, to interrupt your peace and protection. But it also says that there's something that you may be hiding in your feelings, and it looks like an official building. The Sansa. You know, I think this is saying that this is about the room. It's about conversations. It's about people who know each other very well, who may even know secrets about one another. But if you look at the card, the room is all disheveled. The furniture is moved around. The curtains are torn. The mirror is hanging off the wall. So I think this is perhaps some behind the scenes conflict. And the precious presence, which is interesting because it says the precious presence can be anything from literally a gift of money, diamonds, something like that. But more importantly, it's about precious advice given to you. And so I don't know how the cards are gonna with the Wheel of Fortune. And I'm not gonna pull cards on it because it can go either way. And I think I'm too far out to make that kind of prediction, because from that May until November leaves a lot of time for chaos to ensue. So as we get closer to the date, maybe in August, I'll come back and visit this reading and see what it says. But I think this is telling me that she is going to receive some advice that may help her. It won't be easy. It might be a knockdown, drag out fight. In terms of, I don't see any swords here. And I don't see, only cup I see is one of cup of confusion. So I'm not looking at any swords. I have the Ace of Swords in the Justice's hands, but that's at the beginning of the reading. I have no swords in order to find out what anybody's thinking or what ideas they may have, what communications are going on. I don't even see a card that says underground, like what's happening is underground. I think, yes, there is something going on behind the scenes, but I can't get an idea, a feeling of what it is all about. And the Disgracia card talks about shame, embarrassment, the Tragedy card and speaks also, listen, the fire is already in an advanced stage and has ruined the building and trapped whoever is inside. All the escape exits are unusable. A lintel has fallen. See the lintel? Right there, the log. Blocking the main exit. And blocking any escape from a balcony. Fire is also raging inside and it's coming out the window, which is already barred and therefore cannot offer an avenue of escape. It's even burning the grass. So what the card means is a period of great turbulence is about to enter Nikki Haley's life. And it heralds the arrival of traumatic events for which she appears blameless, but that's superficial because she may have done something to trigger it unknowingly or involved other people in the situation. What I'm saying is that Nikki Haley is usually, but not always, in this sense, does she deserve what happens to her. But it implicates that she has failed to learn from her past experiences or mistakes, and that this mistake will exact payment in the present. Mistake from the past will exact payment in the future. She is going to feel like she is a helpless victim of circumstance and will feel completely powerless. I think that has to do with the money people who are behind her. It indicates a drastic and radical change for the worse. Something that will never return to the way it used to be. Now, that could be speaking about her going into the White House and her whole life will change, or it can be that she goes up against Trump and her whole life will change. Sometimes it indicates explosions, fire, car wreck, things of that nature. In a personal relationship, it can herald a painful and sudden separation. I heard that her husband was thinking about divorcing her, so there are marital problems. I think her running has created some kind of marital issue for her husband. The card represents destruction and indicates really grave mistakes. It can also just mean out of the blue. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to play out. I'd say it's too early yet for me to make a prediction about this. But I will certainly come back and look at it in August, as time draws closer to the election. Now, let's pull a Golden Nostradamus card. Her son is an MC, are at the very tail end. They're at 29 Capricorn and 28, I think. Her MC, it's right next to the 10th house. And that is awfully close. And I don't have a birth date, birth time, an exact birth time for her. So her placements could be totally different than what I'm seeing in the chart. Who knows? It could be, she could be in the 10th house, her son and MC. And she has two female asteroids sitting over her sun and MC, which can signify that she opts in I can't think of the other name right quick. But is optimistic. It implies Jupiter, his wife, and that she has reason to hope, and maybe even it will be something that she can completely win. So the card that I'm pulling is the Anchor. And I'm gonna pull a archetype card. Don't dream of pie in the sky. You can only fall when flying high. Continue on your path and don't veer off the beaten track. Change will not be favorable at this time and you are not ready. You should decide to be cautious and balanced. That's the meaning of the Anchor. I seriously think she's gonna have to think about it. Is it worth it for her to get back in the, or is it a better time for her to run? She's only 52. She's way younger than all the men. In 4 years, she'll be 56. And maybe the next presidential election is a time for her. And she might be able to win. I think the longer that she stays out of the political landscape where people can see her, they will tend to forget some of the things she did in South Carolina as a governor. And people will be more forgiving. But you gotta remember, she's gonna have to fight the hurdle of abortion rights, civil rights in her state. The black people in South Carolina is an important state for the election. And black people don't have no love for Nikki Haley. That's just the way it is. Now, isn't this funny? It says Don Juan. Spotlights your positive, seductive qualities, but the shadow attributes are using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. I don't know if that's talking about Trump. I don't know if it's talking about her husband. I don't know if Nikki Haley is having an affair. I don't know anything. The other names for this card are Casanova, Gigolo, Seducer, and Sex Addict. Can make us aware of falling into sex role cliche or misusing the power of a romantic attraction. An underlying vulnerability and the power to open a heart capable of deep love can counter its negative aspects. The shadow side is Don Juan represents a man preying on women for the sake of conquest alone. And maybe this will be Trump's downfall. I don't know. Look for a pattern of sexual behavior in which the end justifies the means. That's a weird card. It has to mean something. And so that's what I have for you. We will see in August how it all turns out, if she will continue and if she has a chance to win the White House. Right now, I think it's too early to make that prediction. Okay, thank you. Bye. I'm sorry. I know this video is rather long. I'm having trouble talking today, but I think it's important. After I close the cards, I thought it was important that I explain something to you that I didn't quite explain clearly. You have these three cards, and you have it on the Nine of Wands. What came to me when after I closed the spread was there could be some kind of violence perpetrated against Nikki Haley if she runs again. Her husband, he is a soldier, or her children, even her parents. This card, disgratia, can sometimes talk about violence perpetrated against a person, particularly here with the military card. This can be the kind of person who will hurt you if necessary. Either the person he wants to win at all costs, or just because simply that he can. And so I felt that it was important for me to bring that message to you about this situation. Some kind of violence can be perpetrated against either her person herself, her family, her kids, her husband. And look at the imagery of the Nine of Wands. So that's all I have to say. I don't want to leave that out because I felt it was very important for me to explain to you. With the two cards right here, there is a real possibility of there being some kind of violence perpetrated against either herself, or members of her family. Okay, that's my duty to warn, and there you have it. I can't get my mouse to operate right. Okay, that's it. Bye.